Hello, everybody.
Tea time.
Yes.
It's actually 4:16.
Well, as you can tell, we're at another point in the solar cycle where the sun is just at the right angle to be cutting into our window here in our office. So
shining in our face.
Yeah, so you're going to have an opportunity to see our glowing faces for a little bit.
Hope everybody's doing good.
Yes.
We want to thank our dear friends Jerry Jones and Unknown Apostate because they have sent us some things here, and we're actually going to put them together because the subject kind of goes together, and we'll just do it in two parts if it's really long.
Well, that's very true because we were sitting. Jerry Jones called me this morning. He says, "Mike, Kim, I sent you guys an article from the Constellation, and he says I think you guys would really do this one really good." And so I'm reading through it, and it's like, oh my goodness! And then at the same time, I'm sharing some of these things with Kim, and Kim says, this goes right along with the article that the Unknown Apostate sent us. So we're going to kind of do them together, guys.
Yeah. So, do we want to show the picture?
Yeah. This comes from the April 20th, 1938 Constellation, page 20, and what we've got is a picture of, looks like a couple of mad scientists, but what it looks like in the picture is that you've got a black eagle. Now, granted, Watchtower was not using a whole lot of color in the artwork back then, but you can tell just by the shape of the head that this is more than likely the American eagle. And you can see underneath the head of the eagle is the NRA. And then there's the man on the other end of the, I guess it looks like they're infusing life into the American liberties.
Yeah.
American
liberties.
liberties.
American liberties against its chest. And we're not sure, exactly what the NRA they're talking about, but we do know that the National Rifle Association here in the United States has been in existence since
1864.
Yes. So we're just assuming, since everybody talks about the NRA in this country, that that's who they're talking about.
Yeah, we actually did a little bit of research on Google to see if we could connect us with anything else that uses the acronym NRA, and the only thing that we could find was the National Restaurant Association. I think we're pretty confident in saying that this is not the National Restaurant Association.
Yeah.
But this article is very interesting because from a political point of view, you can see that Watchtower is really not being neutral. They're
neutral. I was raised a witness. We're politically neutral.
Well, that's what they tell everybody, but they ain't.
Well, the fact that they're giving a transfusion from the bird into the American liberties.
Yeah.
A blood transfusion?
Yeah, from a bird to a human being. How wrong is that?
A life transfusion?
Yeah.
Either way. Crazy.
But I found some things in here that was really, really unique from the perspective of a Jehovah's Witness mindset, because there's some things in here that are written, and I'm going to get to it. I'm going to read just a couple of the paragraphs here, and you can really see. Well, you can see what Rutherford was trying to get at.
Well, even the subheading here is the first one: forever opposed to dictatorship.
And obviously, this was part of Rutherford's campaign against Hitler. And so I'm just going to start reading it. There again, it comes from the April 20th, 1938 Constellation magazine, page 20.
And I have this if you guys ever need to link to it.
And it, as the top of it shows, President of the United States. I don't know if the sun's got to kind of reflect off of that, but under the heading, forever opposed to dictatorship. We face the fact that many people recently converted to new and undemocratic forms of government are eager to bring about similar changes here in America. Some of their ideas may be new to us. Some may seem dangerous. Nevertheless, believing in freedom of speech for others as well as for ourselves, we must not attempt to abuse or silence them. freedom of speech of the apostates in the congregations were forever silenced, aren't we?
Yeah.
But yet, what did Rutherford preach? We must not attempt to abuse or silence them. See, if you become an apostate, you suffer abuse from the hands of Watchtower elders, even family members who shun you, even family members that write letters and say, don't ever contact me again. That's a form of abuse. So what Watchtower's preaching here is don't ever silence the freedom of speech, but yet Watchtower practices the very things that they're speaking out against in this article. Continuing, believing in freedom of speech, Americans practice tolerance.
Not Watchtower.
Not Watchtower, but Americans do. By God, I'm an American now, ain't I? It is well to remember...
We can say what we want.
Damn right we can. It is well to remember that some of the most sincere patriots have been abused by the intolerant of their own day. George Washington, as a British subject, holding ideas of liberty for the American colonies, was abused as a traitor. The abolitionists were denounced as fools and crooks. You know, those who leave Watchtower,
mentally diseased?
The safety of Watchtower's God's organization, they're fools. They go back to the world. They begin celebrating pagan holidays. These people are fools to leave God's organization.
Mentally diseased?
You see where I'm going with this, Jehovah's Witnesses? There's more. Our own history teaches us that great and good changes marking advances in our civilization have frequently resulted from ideas which, because they are new and different, were rejected by the intolerant. Watchtower, here's a good idea. Get rid of your 2-witness rule. Oh, no, you won't do that because that's a new idea. That brings change. You're so intolerant that you're not going to do that. Get rid of your shunning policy so we can have our family. No, you're not going to do it. In fact, what you're going to do is you're going to tighten the noose, aren't you? There are changes coming for you, Jehovah's Witnesses. You watch. You mark my words. Watchtower is getting to be so intolerant of those of us that are speaking out. I guarantee you in the very near future, they're going to find ways to disfellowship those who have, what's the word I want to use? Become
inactive?
Inactive?
That's what we're hearing.
That's what we're hearing. Those who become inactive will be given a chance, and if they don't become active, they're going to face getting disfellowship because you're bringing...
spreading discontent.
Spreading discontent.
In other words, you're talking to your JW family.
Yeah, see? See, Watchtower is intolerant to your freedoms of speech. Continuing, Americans in their struggle for democracy stand forever opposed to dictatorship, a.k.a. the dictatorship of the governing body.
Elders.
Elders. You see, elders are going to be weaponized here very, very soon. Dictatorship by a person or by any special group, also known as Watchtower. Those are my words. This comes from the New York County American Legion. This is where I suppose Rutherford is actually quoting from.
You almost said Rutherford.
Yeah, I know. Rutherford. That works just as well. Now, the next sub-heading is...
Penchant on personal
government. Personal government. Jehovah's Witnesses, do you have a personal government? Well, let's see, you don't salute the American flag. You don't pledge your allegiance to the American flag or any other flag of the world.
Yeah, I think they do because they
But
have the
how many
hierarchy.
times? That's
they
right.
have the governing branch.
Well, by God, they even have their own president, don't they?
Yeah, they have their governing branch. They've got their education, and they've got their judicial system.
They even have their own little school system. It's called the Theocratic Ministry School.
Well, that's what I mean. They have education, judicial, and governing. That's the three branches.
Yeah, and when you've been a Jehovah's Witness for as long as we've had, I've heard it more than once, and we even have the perfect health care system. When you get into the new system, you're going to have perfect health. So they even try to sell the government facade in the mind of a Jehovah's Witness that you even have the perfect healthcare system. But it's interesting, as the article goes on, in a letter to Congress on Mr. Roosevelt's proposals to install himself as dictator, and in which letter he shows that Benito Mussolini has repudiated every promise he has made to the Italian people. Amos R.E. Pinchot says, now this is where I find this very, very interesting, because listen to what this man says, and then as I read it, Jehovah's Witnesses, see if you can't find the similarities in your own government, your own Watchtower organization.
Theocratic government?
You're right, your theocratic arrangement. This is what R.E. Pinchot says. Now remember, this was in 1938. Personal government never works anywhere. We know that from what is going on in Europe and in Russia. It may begin benevolently, but it ends by treating people like animals. It punishes without trial. Disfellowshipped without a judicial hearing. We wrote a letter stating we could not attend our judicial hearing until after the 1st of October. But we got a letter back from our local elders saying if you don't attend on this date, which we informed them we could not attend. I was out of town. They disfellowshipped us anyway. See, this is what a personal government does. It punishes without trial. It makes people poorer. Well, doesn't the personal government of Watchtower says, don't go get a higher education. You know, that new system is so close that you'll never benefit from having a higher education. Why would you want to become a doctor? You know, when we get in the new system, we won't have needs for doctors or lawyers. So why would you educate? See, it makes the people poorer.
Well, didn't we have several witnesses tell us, why would you allow Shiloh to go to college to learn sign language when there's going to be no deaf people in the new system?
Exactly. And look at where our daughter is now. Can you imagine where my daughter would be now if we allowed her to follow that Watchtower governmental thing?
She'd probably have a nice cleaning business.
Probably. Yeah, probably. Yeah, instead she's on her way to get a masterate in human psychology. So anyhow, going on. It works. Let's see. It punishes without trial. It makes the people poor. It works them for small pay. We volunteer to go door to door. We'll do this 10, 20, pioneers, 90 hours a month, 70 hours. We'll do it for absolutely free. Forget small pay, no pay.
And then we'll take our janitorial meager earnings that we're getting and just to put gas in our vehicle.
Yeah, just so that we can go to an assembly or the meetings on Sunday. Okay, works them for small pay and lowers the standard of life. And isn't that what Watchtower does? It keeps them in anxiety and discomfort. Oh my God, I can't have that little puff of a cigarette, otherwise Jehovah's going to kill me in Armageddon. The anxiety that a small government instills in people is very real. Jehovah's Witnesses.
Oh my God, I didn't get any time in yet this month.
Oh, that's right. No, now I'm going to become irregular.
I got to get out this last day of the month. Doesn't matter that it's a blizzard.
Yeah, it doesn't matter that it's 40 below zero, but by God, I got to get my 1 hour in this month. Otherwise, I'm going to have to talk to these elders, behind closed doors. See, this is personal government, Jehovah's Witnesses. This is exactly what you're involved in.
What about the anxiety of, as kids, it's like, oh, if I go away to school and Armageddon comes, I'm not going to be with my family. Everybody here is going to be destroyed and I'm going to be all by myself.
Exactly. Or they wake up with dreams at night because they're dreaming that they're being destroyed at Armageddon. Now, this is what I like the best. It makes them afraid to talk out loud. How many of you Jehovah's Witnesses have had children abused by deviant elders and you're afraid to speak up? See, this is what small government does.
Can't even warn your brothers and sisters, the other parents in the congregation.
Exactly. It makes you afraid. Do you see how small government doesn't work anywhere? Okay, I'm going to continue on. Personal government, no matter who controls it or what it is called, governing body in this case, becomes brutal, stupid, and, except in war, exceedingly inefficient. It is highly contagious, and if it once gets started here, it will no doubt run its course and prove as destructive as in other nations, probably more so. For America is the land of extremes.
Now, I noticed in this other article, we're not going to read this article, but I noticed down here that
Yeah,
they
in the
mentioned
other
the Hitlerizing of the United States.
Yeah. What we should be talking about is the Hitlerizing of the Watchtower and Bible Tract Society. That's what it comes down to.
The Hitlerizing of people and their freedoms.
Yep. They make you afraid to speak out loud. They cause a tremendous amount of anxiety and discomfort. You have a lower standard of life, and you're treated like animals.
And you can't even ask questions. You know, that's how we got in trouble, is we started asking questions. So I think we're going to stop here.
Let me just make one more quick comment before we do, because we do want to get on the part 2 and get to
this one,
the Unknown Apostates Watchtower. But I do want to make this comment that this Amos R.E. Pinchot was very, very observant in 1938 as to the effects of what a small government would do to people.
personal government.
Yeah, exactly. So let's go on to part 2.